just a few weeks, and some of us it takes 6 months, a year. So,
Yeah.
but you're there. That's good. It's a good sign. It's a great sign.
I
Um,
Yeah, my mental. I don't like how it hits you mentally. It's like you got to keep working, you got to keep going, and but when you have to be in public and your face is looking like it does right now, it's hard. It's really hard, but
yeah,
I know it'll
well,
pass.
when you come out the other side, you can look back and just go, wow, that it is mental. I think I'd say most of our healing is mental, and
Yeah.
that's what I discovered when I lost all the weight and actually, dropped 75 pounds and went from being a bigger guy to a very skinny guy. It was like very mental because I put all that time in to gain weight, and then I was losing it all. And it was like, it was a mental ego type of thing for me. And going to the other end of that and coming back up was, yeah, I know where you're at, or kind of that the mental game right there.
Right.
It's very challenging when you're in that.
That
But
is.
you have good support though.
Yes, I do, thankfully.
The sun is just starting to come around,
Yeah,
so you guys will
that's
see me
okay.
good here probably in a moment.
Looks a little tribal. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Ah, oh man.
Hi guys, we're here with Life Food Detox. We have Ian Michael Myers with us today, and we are extremely happy that he's giving us his time to just tell us a little bit about him and his personal experience. He is a holistic and personal trainer, works with detoxification and helping his clients that way. So he's got quite a bit of knowledge, I think, to share with us all. So thank you for being here, Ian.
Oh, thank you, Angie. Thank you, appreciate it.
And hi,
Good morning,
everybody.
guys. We have Gary over here.
Yeah.
Hello, Gary. Good morning.
Good
You
morning.
guys look great this morning. Vibrant and bright,
Absolutely.
full of love and light. Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Thank
I'm excited to share a little bit with you guys this morning.
Perfect. So, can you tell us kind of what brought you to where you are now? Did you have a personal health issue? Did you start somewhere where you were battling your own demons, so to speak?
Yeah, we did. I didn't just start where I didn't always, have the level of health that I have now, or the physique that I was able to build. It took me many years to get there. Everything started for me about 6 years ago when I was 30 years old. I guess I just gave my age away. I'm actually 36. um, so 6 years ago, everything started for me at an early age. And I was actually going to enter a bike race with my stepdad, who's quite a bit older than I am, of course. And we were going to enter a bike race, and I wanted to make sure that I was healthy. I had high blood pressure at 30 years old, mainly because of my lifestyle and my job and lifestyle. So I had high blood pressure ongoing for quite a while. So I wanted to get checked out. I went in to have a physical done, and during the physical, they actually did some testing for my heart. They did an ultrasound, an EKG, and a few other things, and basically determined that I was developing heart disease. And this was at 29, 30 years old. And along with the heart disease, I was also having sugar metabolism issues, which you guys are probably familiar with. Sugar metabolism is linked to the adrenal glands and adrenal weakness and fatigue. So along with that, I was malabsorbed, so I wasn't absorbing nutrition. I was eating probably 4,000 calories a day. And I apologize, there's a train coming through here. Can you guys still hear me pretty well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. There's just a train going through.
Oh, we can hear it.
Good. Well, not good on the train, but good that you could hear me. But yeah, so I was malabsorbed, and I was back during that time frame. I was actually eating close to about 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day. I was 245 pounds, and now I weigh about 190, 195 in between there. And basically, being malabsorbed, I just wasn't absorbing nutrition, so I could eat all day and not absorb the nutrition that I needed. So I became deficient in vitamins and minerals and a lot of different areas. and that was a big part of why my health was declining at such an early age. And on top of that, my lymphatic system was extremely backed up from the poor diet that I was consuming. I was basically, I'm the oldest kid out of three of us, and I was the only one in the family who did not eat a single vegetable for the first 30 years of my life.
Wow.
We tried. My family tried everything to get me to eat fruits and vegetables and make it taste good, and I was not interested. So I was the only one that just did not like the vegetables at all, and that was also a big factor of why my health was kind of declining. I wasn't getting nutrition, and basically it took that, it took those it took me to be informed that my health was not doing well to make some radical changes. And at that point in my life, I didn't know exactly what those changes looked like. I just knew that I needed to make a change, and I was eager to figure out what that was, what that step was going to look like, and what that was going to be. So I basically started. I've always been into exercise and into fitness. So to give you guys a little background, I've always been into sports and fitness and very active. So my goal in my 20s up to about 30 was to become, to be a bodybuilder, and I wanted to be a bigger guy, have more muscle. So of course, I went to see a nutritionist that informed me on structured a meal plan, which consisted of 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day to gain weight. And I followed it. I followed the protocol. I wrote things down, and I lived that lifestyle for a while. Took almost, God, I don't know how many different supplements that were available, protein powders, pre-workout stuff. And, I just was taking all these things, spending $300 a month on this stuff. And my health was suffering. I thought I was doing well, and I was actually doing the opposite. So having a congested and clogged up body, and some challenges with my heart disease, and the borderline diabetes, those types of things were pretty serious for me. So I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and basically I started to research a little bit on, somebody in my office had filled me in on alkaline foods and acidic foods. I had no idea what they were talking about. So I began researching and just, poking around a little bit to see what was out there. And I remember looking at an alkaline food chart and going, I don't eat any of this stuff, and then looking at the acidic foods and going, okay, that's for everything is that I eat and drink also, and put on my skin and all of those things. So I couldn't get my hands around it at that time, but it was something that I started to research, and that kind of started everything. The next step was I found Dan McDonald on YouTube. You guys are familiar with Dan McDonald, the Life Regenerator. Great guy. Had the opportunity to meet him and talk with him and hang out with him a little bit over the last couple of years. And I found a video of him out actually juicing in front of his RV back in the early days. And his message really spoke to me. He was explaining how, the benefits of fruits and vegetables and getting them in, and how we can heal our body naturally. And all of that made sense to me. The only challenge was I didn't like vegetables. So I had to figure out a way to do it, and juicing seemed to be the answer. So I was willing to try it. I went out and bought a juicer and literally started plugging this stuff in. What's interesting is I didn't go on a diet plan. I didn't go on I didn't do any kind of dieting at all. All I was doing was simply just adding in juicing. That was it. That was the only thing I was doing in the very beginning of my transformation. And what that did is after a few months of just adding it in the morning, my taste buds started to change, and I started to taste things and smell things, and it was like waking up from a fog. So I started to come back to life, and I started feeling good. Weight started to fall off, which was kind of scary in the beginning because I didn't understand what was going on. But through implementing the juicing in, everything started to change slowly. And then I learned about Dr. Robert Morris, who was our mentor, and I learned about his programs and his teachings, and that led me into going to take his class and become certified as a detoxification specialist. And as many of us have all done, we see the value in that, and how we can actually heal our bodies naturally. So everything just kind of came to me in little sequences of it's like divine timing. I was ready to receive it, and the teacher appeared, and I just kind of moved into that space and began cleaning up my body and healing. And so just to kind of wrap it up, what basically happened for me when I started to implement this juicing is that I started craving salads and greens and food with color for the first time in my life. And I had to start figuring out how to shop for groceries, that were not junk food and pizzas and sandwiches and stuff. So I'd go into the grocery store and it became kind of fun, because I was actually developing some new patterns. And it felt good. I think because the colors were so vibrant and rich. And then I was putting that into my body, and I felt amazing. So as I kept continuing to go through that, and I was losing weight, but I was feeling stronger. And then I started to learn more about the herbs, and I ordered some herbs. And before you know it, before I knew it, it was a couple of maybe 6 months had gone by, and I was now starting to bring herbs in. And as I continued down that path, naturally, without any deprivation or without any kind of crazy dieting plan or anything, I slowly migrated into what we call a raw living plant-based diet or lifestyle. And I didn't even know that's what it was called back then, because I wasn't familiar with vegan or plant-based. I didn't know what any of this stuff meant. But I later learned that's what my lifestyle is. And anyway, I just started to really crave these fruits and vegetables, and I slowly just added more in, and all the bad stuff began to just fade away. I didn't want it. I just kind of made the connection that I didn't feel good when I had them, and I felt really amazing juice and the smoothies. And so it was just a matter of time before my body guided me in that direction, and it was just divine timing. And with the herbs mixed in with that, the fruits and the vegetables and juicing and smoothies, the magic started to happen pretty quickly. And so after about 12 months, 11 to 12 months, I had went through some major healing crises where I had gotten really sick for a couple of weeks and lost a lot of mucus and weight. And basically I got down to 170 pounds at my lowest weight. I was really skinny. People thought I was sick. They thought I had cancer. They didn't understand what I was doing. And that's the question that many of us get as health coaches, is that what happens when we lose weight? What do we do? I remember Dr. Morse saying that you're going to have to get comfortable with losing weight because you're malabsorbed. So get comfortable with losing all that weight. But when you do, just realize that when you get down there to the bottom and you lost all the weight and you clean your body up, when you start to rebuild, it's amazing on the amount of muscle you can put on naturally and without all the supplements.
I just have a question, because I know we get it a lot about people who are concerned about the fact that they already are at a very low weight. They don't want to start doing it because they're worried about losing more weight, and they need to actually put weight on. That's one thing. And I'm sure you've heard that, along with, are you getting your B's, vitamins, because we're not eating meats, and, how are you getting that and not being malabsorbed? Or, I'm sorry, malnutrient.
Yeah, it's, well, what I've discovered is there's certain things, I haven't been tested again in a while on, the malabsorption. I would like to do that, or at least get my eyes done and get an update on it to see if a lot of that's been improved. I go a lot off of how I'm feeling, energy wise, and then, but there are certain things like, I believe it's chlorella and spirulina. There's certain things, I know Dr. Morse is not a big, he doesn't really promote the spirulina or the chlorella powder. And I understand he keeps it on the other side of the fence and more simple. But there's certain things out there that do have fair amounts of B12, and so we can get it from our food or supplementation if you need it. But I personally haven't had to supplement with any kind of B vitamins or D vitamins or anything really, any isolates of any sort. But I have heard of people having to get B12 shots, and I think it can be a temporary bridge to, I think the more we clean up and fix our internal environment, the more that we'll absorb from the food that we're eating, and getting a variety of different foods. Many of us just stay streamlined on just one specific type of food. And when we start to get out and get more variety, and we can research food, you can look up foods that have B vitamins in them, or I know the meat definitely supposedly it does. I don't know whether we're absorbing it or not, but but another thing that I learned, I'm not a big fan of this, but nutritional yeast, people have said that has traces of B12, but I've also heard that's toxic stuff. I haven't done enough research on it to say one way or the other, but I personally haven't. That's a great question. I haven't had any kind of issues with the B12 deficiencies, but I still to this day, after 6 years of being on this lifestyle, I'm still currently taking herbs quite a bit. The one thing that I stay on pretty much year round is you guys are probably familiar with the GI Broom formula.
Oh, yeah.
I stay on that year round, and also Heal All Tea. So I still continue to work on my GI tract because it took such a major hit in the beginning with 30 years of drinking milk and all the dairy and cheese that I used to eat. I mean, I'll probably spend the rest of my life, working on my health and getting it up, because I like to do it slow and steady rather than fast and aggressive now. I used to be fast and aggressive.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was so excited and I wanted to go fast and aggressive into it. And it worked for the first 12 months, but then it became like I was a hermit and I didn't do anything. I didn't participate in many activities. And now I live it with a little bit more balance and just stay on it throughout the year. And I live a lifestyle now of it rather than just 2 weeks on or, 1 month on. So, yeah, it's a great question.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, I like that.
Comfortably.
I think that's exactly. And hey, who's in a hurry here?
That's right.
We've got a lifetime ahead of us, and we want to take time to enjoy it and smell the roses. And if we have a major issue like a cancer or something like that,
Right.
We've got to put the head down and go. But
Right.
for many of us, our goal is to be healthier, happier, and be more vibrant and live longer. And as far as when I coach people, I like to just encourage them to take their time with it and be patient. We're reversing a lifetime of improper eating, and we just the less amount of stress we can have along that journey, I think the more successful we are.
I always explain it that the body's asleep, and when you start putting live food in it, it doesn't like it very much because it doesn't like to be woken up.
Not in the beginning.
Oh.
Not in the beginning.
So slowly, and it will open, and it'll open, and it'll open, and the next thing you know, you're healthy.
Absolutely. And it's like one day you wake up and you just go, I don't know what happened, but I feel a shift has happened, and I just feel different. And you feel a level of clarity. It's hard to explain to anybody, but they know it when they get it. And, the more, I think it's really just dialing in and being more in tune with our body. Mm-hmm. First, just being more in the now and in the moment, and taking time to realize that, like we're on this conversation right now, and, as we're speaking, I'm giving you guys 100% of me and my energy, to you. So if we can learn how to direct that in our life each day, if we're driving the car, it's like we can take time to look around where we're at. Most people are on autopilot and they're just lasered in with the blinders on, going 100 miles an hour forward and not taking time to even look around and see what's around us. But making those connections and bringing that in allows us to just, be in the moment and I think just enjoy the ride along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're here. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great. Life is amazing. Full of sometimes some surprises, and especially during detoxification. You never know what's around the corner.
No, you don't.
You
really don't.
You never know.
What's around the corner.
Yeah. Yes. So that's.
So
Go
I
ahead.
have a question. You went to the doctors. You found out you had heart issues and that you were having other issues. Did they mention the lymphatic system? And if not, how did you find out about it?
Yeah, the lymphatic, that's a great question, because the lymphatic system, the doctors just aren't, there's no test for those. You've got to use iridology. And so unfortunately I didn't learn about the lymphatic system or really the malabsorption until I was with Dr. Morse. What really motivated me in the beginning with the doctor visit was the heart disease and the sugar metabolism issues that I was having, because that was all detected through the blood work that I had done. So those things were visible, and that was enough to motivate me to make some changes, because they were wanting to put me on to some medication for heart disease or for the high blood pressure, and the heart disease was going to be managed with like fish oil capsules and getting some more cardiovascular exercise in, which I wasn't doing much of back then. So that's the lymphatic system is just the only way that I was able to find that out was through Dr. Morris's iridology report, and that's where I did everything that he saw in the eye. I had already figured out with the doctors, as far it all made sense then. It was just like a confirmation of like, okay, I got it. It's message received, message delivered, message received type of thing. And then it was like full speed ahead. I was very aggressive in the beginning because I wanted to make a change. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know where to start. I just kind of just put my feet down and just started moving forward.
That's something, Ian, sorry to interrupt you, but
that's okay.
That a lot. What would you say to people that are just starting out and they don't have any idea what's going to happen or go on? What would you say to them just starting out? Where did you go specifically, and what was the most benefit to you in the beginning?
Well, I think in the beginning it's because I do get a lot of questions from people that are interested in beginning cleaning up their body, and a lot of people are I don't know, have maybe some fear about it because it's foreign to a lot of people. Luckily because of Facebook and YouTube, it's become a little bit more mainstream. It's come in, more and more people are hearing about it through interviews like what you guys are offering here, and through our Facebook and social media. We have more activity going on now around it, so people can get more support. Whereas back in like 2011 and 12 or 2010, there was really not a lot of going on out there in the world of detox. People had heard about it, but it wasn't anything big. So my best advice is starting small, starting simple, manageable, something that's manageable. And sometimes it's just something as simple as making a habit of developing a new habit of waking up first thing in the morning and just kind of feeling into the morning in the space, and then waking up and doing one healthy habit in the morning, which could be like water with lemon. Many people don't even do that. And so just having like water with lemon in the morning, and maybe if you wanted to add in a little sweetener in there or some cayenne pepper, or maybe something like along those lines is a great start. You do that every week or every morning. I mean, when you get up, and that can be a great addition to starting. But I like to encourage people to start small with manageable pieces, and then as you start to tune into how you're feeling with that, then you can kind of add in more things so you're not overwhelmed and feeling like there's too much to remember. I mean, everybody can wake up in the morning and just squeeze a lemon in water, maybe with some cayenne pepper or something like that. That's pretty manageable for most people to do, and consistently. And then as you start to feel the difference from that, you can add in more and just keep adding as you go down the road. So that would be my best advice for anybody just looking to begin and start somewhere.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. It's like one glass in the morning, maybe some herbal tea with your lunch and your supper. Start there and experience it. Give your body a chance to wake up.
Yes.
And as you gain experience, you'll start to explore other things.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's all about the connecting the mind to the body, because our mind wants to tell us all these things, and sometimes even stop us from pushing forward. It wants to shut us down and say, no, you can't do that, or it's not comfortable, so we get in our own way. But if we can take our time and just begin to feel into what's going on, and be in the present moment with things, then it's a much more graceful approach. And I feel like for most people, it's more, you get a little bit more out of it, So let's see here. You guys still able to see me?
Oh yeah.
This train's coming through again. Oh man, I'm gonna try to cover the mic. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Lovely view back here, but the train adds to it.
It's called flavor.
Yeah, that's right. Southern California flavor.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what have you found to be the most, let's say, as you've gone through your transformation, the most important thing that you think you have done uh, in your growth and connecting to your personal body, shutting your mind off and
yeah,
feeling with your heart?
yeah. Feel with our heart,
Because
or
we're brought up with a scientific mind, and it's killing common sense because everybody wants to know the infinite of, well, what's in that, and why isn't this pill good, and all, it's all noise. It doesn't have anything to do with our body. So, what do you
yeah.
think the most important thing is for you?
And that would what was the first part of it, Gary? You said,
When, since you've been going through your transformation
yeah.
and detoxing and physical fitness, what do you feel the most important thing that you've done so far is that created that transformation in your body and your mind?
Oh boy, that's a great question. There's a lot of things that come to my mind. Um, the really for me, the I think the biggest thing that I changed that took that came out for me was learning how to eat vegetables. If I hadn't done that, none of this really would have been. I don't think I would have ever managed to get on board. Um, and that was a pivotal moment for me, when that change happened and I started to, use the juicing and start, getting into that. That helped me out tremendously. And I'm sure there's some people out there that may know somebody or be going through that similar thing where they just don't like vegetables, that just to eat a salad or a broccoli or something is just not on the menu. And so if I could pass on any tips or any kind of things for people out there, I would say that, using juicing, implementing juicing could be an area that can really help somebody to get into eating more fruits or more vegetables, really. Um,
Ian, I know for myself, before dealing with adrenal fatigue, I was much into the workout world for a long time. So that definitely plays on my heart for wanting to be able to do that again. And I know that some of the people in our group, we have different ranges of if people are able to be physical at all. Some people are still able to work out. What would you say to those people as far as, the ones that are able to get back into fitness a little bit? What do you do with yourself and your clients if they're struggling with, some adrenal issues, a weakened system?
yeah, that's another great question because, we know that too much physical stress and activity can really do the opposite of what we're looking to accomplish with adrenal fatigue. But a little bit of movement is good for stimulating the lymphatic system and being able to keep things moving regularly. So we have to find a balance in there somewhere. And, each one of us is different on where we're at with our level of health and adrenal function. So what I like to do in the beginning is just, we kind of test things out a little bit, but start small, start slow. Sometimes it's just with a walk and see how we're feeling after the walk and start to increase activity as we feel, is necessary or that we can do that. But, when I went through I'll just tell you what I did personally for myself, because I had something I didn't mention in the beginning was that I was actually put on Accutane as a kid. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's a powerful and toxic. It's a very powerful and toxic and dangerous pharmaceutical that's available for people with acne and bad acne. And I'm telling you, it's something that shut my adrenal glands down. And not to also something else that shuts the adrenal glands down are prednisone and steroids. And I also took those. And this was like in my 20s. And I was given prednisone on 2 different occasions during the year to take. I think it was 10 milligrams. And I'm telling you guys, it did something to my adrenal glands that I was having adrenal fatigue. Like, I was drinking coffee and I was also taking at that time when I was, this was probably 7 or 8 years ago, I was also taking a pharmaceutical called Adderall, which is, it almost like is a stimulant for focusing. It's a stimulant, but it's supposed to help you focus. But what it's also doing is it's ripping your adrenal glands and shutting them down because it's overstimulating and it's not natural. So I had a pretty deep level of adrenal fatigue in the beginning. So when I was detoxifying, I didn't really go in to do any heavy exercise. The weights weren't really a big deal for me then. I was riding my bicycle almost every other day or every day, and I would go for a ride for 30 minutes to an hour in the morning or the afternoon, and that was what I was doing. That really helped to keep the intensity and the impact low, and allowed me to gracefully kind of move into the detox. And I was taking adrenal glandular capsules, and I was taking endocrine gland formulas to really pump the adrenals up and all the glands. So I was doing a good deal on those on the glands in the beginning to try to get myself back up. It took a while though, and I didn't begin weightlifting again until after about 12. It was about after 12 months that I actually picked that back up. So for people that are just kind of having those issues going on, less is best in the beginning, and you can always moderate and adjust and go up as you feel your body's capable of handling it. So,
what's your take on fasting? Have you ever done that with adrenal issues?
Yeah, I've explored or experimented with juice fasting, and I've used grape juice. I drink these little jars of lemon juice, 32 ounces. I drink them all day, so I'm kind of every day I'm just getting in lemon water. I do probably about 3 of those a day, and but for like water fasting, I've never experimented with that. I've never done any kind of water fasting at all. Juice fasting I've done for a few days, but for me it's more about I stay pretty much primarily on a liquid lifestyle. I wake up from the time I get up till about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm drinking juice, smoothies, lemon water, and herbs. And then in the afternoon, I'll have a big salad with the fats and coconut meat, or something. I'll blend coconut meat in for the dressing. I'll get the fats in at night, basically. And what that does is help me to feel satisfied in the evening. And this way, when I go to sleep and my body's in repair mode, I can have more of a slow trickle of fat going into my body as I'm in repair mode. So when I wake up, I feel refreshed and feel good, rather than starving in the morning. So I pretty much fast all day, smoothies and juice and water with lemon, and then I'll do the big salad or a raw meal at night. Typically not with any nuts and seeds though. With the fats, it's just avocado, coconut, hemp seed hearts. That's really the fats that I use.
Okay, you just rang the 5-alarm fire bell there when you said no nuts and seeds, because a lot of people ask me that. Why no nuts and seeds?
Well, there's a couple of different reasons that I've learned over the years. I didn't always know this, but through research and through personal exploration on myself, I found that many of the nuts and seeds, if we're getting them straight from a farmer, it's one thing because we know that they're fresh. The challenge with the store-bought stuff is that it sits on the shelves for we don't even know how long. Nuts and seeds can appear to be in a good form, but really they're rancid. They've been sitting for months, and they have a weird taste to them. And they just don't taste good, and they can become more toxic when they're in that state. The other thing is that nuts and seeds are just hard to digest. They're good, and they're wonderful in recipes, but they're hard to digest. Even if you're soaking them and sprouting them, you have to kind of culturize them and remove the phytates in order to be able to digest and receive the nutrition from it. And for me, it just doesn't. My body doesn't like it. It causes my skin to break out. Maybe because the nuts and seeds aren't the best. The best. They're not in the best. They're not the best. They're not the freshest stuff, seeds to be using, and that could be the reason why. But I just they never agree with me, and I don't feel my energy levels aren't as good with avocado and coconut. It's very simple. I'm able to digest it and utilize it, metabolize it, and absorb what I'm getting from the avocado. And I think mainly it's because it's texture and how it's how the body receives it. For whatever reason, I feel a lot better when I have a moderate amount of that type of fat.
Something you said in there that I thought was really important is when our bodies are compromised and we eat something, we can't feel the energy drain. But once you get your body clean and you eat something and it's draining your energy, you can feel it big time.
Absolutely, yeah, and you become so sensitive that if there's there'll be sensitivities that I'll get at certain times if I have a salad from a salad bar, and let's just say something may not be organic, or maybe sometimes I'll get a reaction to some certain foods. I haven't pinpointed exactly what it is, but I'll have my nose will start running. It's like, from having a salad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something in there. And for me, it's like I'm that sensitive now. So, but it's 6 years of doing this as a lifestyle and not a 2-week venture. It's like it's an everyday thing, 12 months a year. So, and from time to time, I'll go off and have like a sweet potato or a yam or some steamed or cooked food. I'm not 100% all of the time. I allow a little bit of flexibility in there. And mainly, there's no real specific time for it. It just go off a feeling, intuitive, being intuitive with your body. I've done enough. I feel like I've done enough work to where I can feel into that, and I always know right away if it's agreeing or not. It's you get that instant response almost.
Absolutely.
So,
would you say the same thing about mixing up the nuts and seeds? Like if people use it, blend it up as for like a dressing, basically.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah, the dressings. If I'm preparing things for people who have never tried raw food, I will use soaked cashews or soaked Brazil nuts many times, and find the best quality that I can find, and I'll put those into like making a pate or something to introduce to people who have never done the raw living foods, and it seems to be work well for people that are transitioning. They're not quite as sensitive, and their bodies are able to handle a little bit better. But the goal is to try to if you can find fresh nuts and seeds and you have the ability to be able to the time to culturize them or soak them and do it properly. It's definitely better than any alternative, like going and grabbing pizza or having a burger or something like that. So I always look at things on a scale of like, well, if having soaked cashews for somebody, if it means somebody having soaked cashews and in a dressing versus going out and buying store-bought dressing, go for the cashews. Use that. But if you want to take it up a notch to the next level, maybe take the cashews out and choose avocado or coconut meat. And since they're pretty neutral in their flavor, we can blend that in and make the dressing a little thicker. So that's just kind of my approach to it with the dressing or with the nuts and seeds. I'm not saying that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. What about those that throw out? You should be on a fish oil. What do you tell those people?
Well, fish oils are. Anything that's encapsulated, really, that's not a natural, like herbs, they've just been dehydrated, they've been minimally processed. And so we pretty much know where the herbs came from the earth. I mean, these fish oil, they've got to come out, obviously, from the fish, but there's no telling what the process is. And if it's, I guess there's really no telling what the process is with herbs either. We just hope for the best. We find a trusted source. Yeah, find a trusted source with the herbs.
Busy station.
It is. It's right behind me, right on the ocean. It's the Amtrak that goes through here. But the fish oils, I guess if somebody was suggested to take them, it's really up to them on whether or not they want to explore that avenue, and maybe it's something that they do as a bridge, as they're cleaning up their body and starting to clean up the internal environment. They maybe possibly use a little bit of fish oil if they wanted to. It's not necessary, but some people feel like they have to do those things. So I mean, I don't really support it, but at the same time, if it makes somebody feel comfortable to take a little fish oil, you know, who cares? We'll get them back on, get their health back on track at some, you know, at some point. And I think really it's just about when you have enough knowledge and you understand something well enough, you'll soon see that you don't need any of that stuff. But you know, for me, I used to take all kinds of supplements, and if you'd have told me that what we're talking about now, probably 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, I would have been like, I wouldn't have ready for it. I wouldn't have been ready, and wouldn't have made any sense to me. I wouldn't I wouldn't understand it. You know, you don't need whey protein, you don't need meat to build muscle. No, you don't. Zero.
That's cultural programming, is what that is.
Yeah, it sure is. And I'll tell you what, it is I have a shirt that says plant-based muscle on it. And when I go to the gym, I'm always smiling from ear to ear when I go in there, because, you know, you see people looking, and you can tell, like, a lot of the guys in there, they're the bigger, bulkier kind of guys. And, you know, I was once there myself. So, but it's always nice to support the plant-based lifestyle and community and show what's possible with just simple foods. So, wind's picking up out here. Feels good. Blowing me around out here. Might have to put a hat on here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's the other thing is with plant-based eating. You know, we don't have to eat as much. You know, once we clean up our internal environment, we don't have to eat 4,000 calories anymore. Now we can eat more simple, and when we start absorbing all the nutrition, we don't have to indulge in as many calories to become satisfied, and because we're absorbing all this nutrition, we're with the heavy gluten and starch lifestyle or standard American way of eating, we just eat. We never find that comfortable place to just, you know, to be finished and satisfied. Eat a whole pizza and then you want more, even though you're full, type of thing, because it's so addicting. And with plant-based eating, I've noticed that it's more of a, you know, you can eat until you're satisfied, and when you feel good, you can push the food away, and you could even come back 30 minutes later and continue eating and feel really good, a good level of energy. So that's another thing that could be, maybe if somebody that's thinking about exploring plant-based, raw living plant-based lifestyle, those are some of the differences that you can expect.
Now, do you still have a garden out there where you are now?
Well, you can't see behind me very well, but the ocean is back here, and I have some friends out here who do have a garden. In fact, you guys may know Barry Coral. You guys familiar with Barry Coral? He's a Dr. Morris graduate as well. He took level 1 and 2. He's here in San Diego, California, in Vista, and he actually has a wonderful, beautiful tropical fruit farm. It's called Coral's Tropical Fruit Farm, and he has all kinds of exotic fruits, sapotes, cherimoyas, figs. And I go there and help him. I'll go there and work around the farm, helping him out with compost and picking the fruit, guavas and passion fruit. And so I've had the second day that I was out here, that I moved here, the second day that I got out here to California, I was actually invited to, he had a meetup group at his place. And I was able to go over there and just linked right up with those guys and started working with him. And, you know, it's been amazing. It's like, you know, the abundance is here. So yeah, I've actually been fortunate enough to plug right into that and find somebody that does that. You know, that's his business, is this fruit farm, and he's got so many wonderful fruits out there. And you can also order. He ships out all over the country.
Excellent. So you have any videos up?
I do have a couple of them. I probably have about 6 or 7 that are actually in my YouTube. I just haven't posted them up for whatever reason. I just put them aside. I shot them and put them aside, and just waiting. I've been working through a lot of new things out here. There's a magazine that's coming out here at the end of the month. It's called Thrive, It's a vegan health and fitness magazine, and they actually wrote an article on me, and it's something new I've never done before, and it was pretty. It's going to be really cool to see, to be able to spread the message and put, I was able to write a little bit about my story and some things that I went through in the beginning, a couple of photographs that were taken, and I'm excited. It's coming out here at the end of the month. So, yeah, so it's been, being out here in California has really, I've been working on some new things with getting my website up and going, and so I haven't been able to do as much as I wanted to do with these with the videos, but I have made a few of them. Actually, there's one up on YouTube with me and Barry Coral at his tropical fruit farm, and we're going to make another one soon, so people will be able to see exactly what it looks like. Mm-hmm. It's a little paradise out there.
Excellent.
And what's the name of his place again?
It's Coral, Koral, and then apostrophe S, Tropical Fruit Farm, and it's in Vista, California.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, so, because connecting to the earth is one of the most important things you can do in the healing process too.
Absolutely.
Picking the fruit or the vegetable and just putting it in your mouth. No plates, no forks, no nothing.
A little bit of dirt on there is okay.
Yeah.
It's the minerals.
That's right.
You don't have to wash it all off. Just blow it off and eat away.
We just had some 6 below zero weather here, and there was snow on the ground, and then we got a bunch of rain, and a bunch of the snow went away. My kale we ate off out in the garden today.
No way.
It's like,
it's a survivor.
Why is that thing still alive?
Wow.
That's the plant you want to eat off it.
Absolutely. And that's like these, that's like these wild edible plants. You go out in the backyard and you'll find dandelion greens. You got burdock root. There's plantain. Pretty much plantain grows everywhere that man has ever walked. That's everywhere. And so, these things are available. And what's interesting is that these plants, they have root structures that go hundreds of feet down into the earth, and they pull up all the minerals and nutrition that some of the vegetables don't actually pull up. So these wild plants have even more power. And you notice if you go out to spray them, like dandelion greens, they spray them and they keep coming back. Mm-hmm. They flourish out. They're survivor plants, and they're here for a purpose. And it's like you said, those are the things that we want to be putting in our body, that kind of consciousness, things that can't be, they're not going down. And you take those types of foods in, and health just starts to illuminate and come up very quickly, especially the wild plants. If you go out to harvest.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you can harvest them in an area that's safe, where there's no pesticides sprayed or, something like that.
Yeah. I always said, if there's a picture of the weed on the Roundup bottle, eat it, don't spray it. Yeah, that's the truth. Definitely go for it. Figure out a way to get it in your body. If you got to juice it, if it's bitter, like dandelion greens are pretty bitter, you can juice them with some apples and lemon and, some celery or cucumber, and it makes a great juice. Absolutely.
So,
extra space out there, Ian, because I am having a heck of a time trying to find anything here. It's so hard in the colder areas. So find a spot for me out there, please.
I was in Colorado for 6 years before I came out here. I moved to San Diego in September, and prior to that, I was in Colorado for 6 years. And the winters are pretty cold in Colorado, and they had to source in all of their produce. As they had to import it in. So a lot of the local stuff just wasn't going on. There's no greenhouses out there, unfortunately. So for fruit, you have to kind of go for what you can find, or frozen. It's like the next best thing. But the winter months, eventually the winter lifts and the spring comes in, and we can get out and forage and look for herbs if you can find them in your area. And then I'm not a huge advocate of supplementation, but if you can find like the superfood blends that Robert puts out, superfood blends like that can be wonderful in the winter months when you're not able to find the food, but you need the nutrition. Those are great ways to plug in. to get those nutrients in, at least, as an alternative.
Yep, definitely. Or moving.
Yeah,
Better.
yeah. Coming out here to San Diego, people say, "Well, how do you live there? It's so expensive." But I think it's all perception. We can pick things apart anywhere we go. It's too loud here. The people aren't right, or it's too pretentious. So we could pick it apart. But you look around, I can see back there, the ocean's there. It's 80 degrees out here. It's like, you can also find the beauty there too. It's just, what do you choose to look for? So it was challenging in Colorado, I will say. So I know what you guys are going through, the cold weather. I did it for a while. I just committed to come in here. I had an opportunity to do it, so it was possible for me. It took me a while to get here, but I'm here now.
So
yeah,
how did you find clients? Because you moved to a new place. That's been a little bit of a challenge, but you guys probably see me on Facebook. I'm pretty active out there. I'd like to put information out, and I like to just be a good role model and lead by example. Mainly because I've been through a lot, and I like to share what I've been through with people. I feel like there's a lot of people that can identify with my story and find a level of somewhere in there that they might inspire them. And by getting that feedback from our fellow friends out there, hey, this is really inspiring. It keeps me going, and it inspires us all. We all just work together to keep going. But the way I'm able to keep going with this whole thing is that, like, now that I'm here in California, I've had the opportunity to give a couple of talks, and they just kind of happened. I wasn't scouting them out. I was just asked if I would be interested in doing one, and the first one I did filled up like within 24 hours. So the topic was, where do you get your protein from? And so we did a second one. They invited me in for the next week asked if I would be interested in doing a second one, and I said yes. 24 hours, that one filled up, and it was full room, 50 people. Wow. And so through those, I was able to get some feedback from people that were interested in working with me in the area. I kind of just live the part. I work out outside, and I go to the gym, and I exercise there, and I wear a plant-based muscle shirt, and people are curious about that. I go to meetup groups and talk to people there. So I put myself out there, and then with this magazine coming out, and with my website being completed here soon, I feel like that just kind of moving into that space and doing. So I haven't really had too much of a lot of what I do is online now. It's Facebook and Skype and by phone, doing consultations with people by the phone and Skype and things like that. So I haven't really had too much of a challenge out here. Of course, we could always be a little busier, but for 4 months of being out here, I've been real pleased with the level of clients that I've been able to work with out here.
Excellent. Wonderful.
So, and
go
what's
ahead.
that? I was going to say just a quick quote from Gary was saying something earlier that I think it was feel with our heart, and I wanted to just say something that I'll never forget, because Dr. Morris said this at the last class in November. He said what we want to do is think with our heart and feel with our mind, and I just thought that was like, think with our heart. It's like the opposite,
Yeah,
feel and feel with our mind. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. It was on my mind. It's just something that I took from that class and thought it was just a great thing to remember.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I was at a seminar one time, and I never forgot this saying: "The mind is the dark room where all negatives are developed."
It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the mind has never seen the light of day. It can only
That's
reach
true.
out through the 5 senses. That's how it experiences the world. It's never seen light.
That's profound.
Profound.
You have to think about that. That's wow. That's great.
I think we are about up here on our time, so we just want to thank you for coming and speaking with us, Ian. It was awesome having you and hearing your knowledge and your experience.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, it's been a great experience here to share with you guys, and be able to connect and share a little bit of some of the stuff that I went through, and hopefully the viewers have maybe been able to connect with some of what we've talked about, or some of the tips and things. And my wish and intention is just that that people find with a level of inspiration and motivation to continue moving forward and working on their health and to live a longer and happier and healthier life. So thank you guys for the opportunity to share and to share a little bit of insight. Appreciate it.
How do people get in touch with you?
You can a couple of different ways. Right now, I mentioned my website is actually going to be completed here soon. We'll have a landing page to start with, so it'll be under my first name and my last name, IanMyersWellness.com, and that is IanMyers and then wellness.com. The other way is, of course, through Facebook, which is very active on Facebook, and Messenger's available there too, so you could send a private message. And I'm under my full name on Facebook, which is Ian Michael Myers. And then the other way is, of course, my email, and that is my full name. It's kind of long, but it's IanMichaelMyers@gmail.com.
Awesome. I'll make sure that the links get put in the description so people can get it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
They can just click on it and go right to it.
That's great. Thanks a lot.
Thanit. Thank you. And maybe at some point we can have you and Shane on together. I know you guys did a video.
Yeah, we did, and it was a great video.
Oh, it was a great video.
We just had a good time with it, and nothing was planned. We did a meditation before the video, and we ate a whole watermelon, and we just sat out and we walked out into the woods and had this almost an hour just went by. We were just back and forth, and it was just a good. He has great energy, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's just a good guy, and has just a big heart. You could tell just when you get in his presence, and you get a hug from the guy, and it's like you just know it's good energy. So I'd love that. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much again, and maybe we'll have you back sometime.
That'd be great. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Have a fantastic day. Enjoy the sunshine.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to.
All right.
All right.
All right. Have a great day.
You too, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do people get in touch with us?
Oh gosh, with so many avenues. Now, if you guys need to get a hold of us, we are at LivefoodDtox@gmail.com, or you can also go to our Facebook page as well, in group, and let us know you have some questions you need answers for. So, and if there's anybody that you guys want to see that we may not have thought of to contact, please let us know. That would be great help too.
And if they have a question, where do they do that?
If they have a question?
Yeah.
Yes. LivefoodDtox@gmail.com.
Awesome. Fantastic being here with you again, as always. Love seeing your smile.
Thank you. Even if it's a sick one.
Well,
Plug through. Plug through.
Yeah, that's part of the fact that you're doing this and you don't feel well is just showing other people that you can still do things, and you can do things that help other people and things that really matter, even though you're sick or you're having a healing crisis.
A little bit, yeah.
It's not the end of the world, although it can feel like it. And we both know that. It can feel like you question a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I know better, so I know that this is just one more step up, and to keep going.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's no stopping. We keep doing these regardless, so hang in there with us too, guys.
And
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, we go through it with you in
Yes.
these healing crises. These are not just talked about. So, yeah, they definitely let you know what you're made of.
And you're slowly working your way through it. But, yeah, it can be a process. So don't give up. You got to keep at it, keep going, get that circulation going. That's really important.
I need to go warm up.
All right. So love you.
Love you too.
And
Thanks, guys. Hang in there.
I will talk to you later, and I hope everybody has an amazing, fantastic detox.
Yeah.
Gotta stick with it.
Definitely. You got it, guys.
I will talk to you later.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Guys, bye.
Oops, where are you? Bye-bye.